to take all of us working together in this. And you all have a responsibility. We all have a role to play in this, and truly electing someone who will let us make America great again. You hard-working Americans, you patriots, you who know that enough is enough, enough of the status quo, it's got to go. In this great awakening, you all who realize that, man, our country is we're going to go to hell in a handbasket under this tragic fundamental transformation of America that Obama had promised us. No, what we need now is a fundamental restoration of America, all that is good and free and secure and exceptional about America. So we need to be in it to win it. And we're in it because we believe in America. And we can believe that our best days are ahead of us. But we're going to have to start doing things completely different. Things that over the last 7-8 years have gotten us into the mess that we're in. We need to elect a commander-in-chief who will respect our troops. A commander-in-chief. A commander-in-chief who understands that we, as Americans, you here in Oklahoma especially, you love your freedom. And when you love your freedom, you thank a vet. You think of that. And then you realize that our vets deserve a commander-in-chief who will let them do their job and go kick ISIS ass. Commander-in-chief who will respect what it is that our forces go through and would never leave them behind. A commander-in-chief who would never lie to the families of the fallen. When I talk about a commander-in-chief who will never leave our men and our women behind, let me get a little bit personal on this. I'm talking about not leaving our wounded warriors behind also. Our wounded warriors who come home from the battlefield bringing new battles with them.
Wasilla police were dispatched to a home owned by Sarah and Todd Palin after receiving a 911 call from a woman who said that she had been punched in the face by a male who was also in possession of a gun. Kapler, who's the police official who wrote the police report, writes that upon arriving at the home, he found Palin outside talking on his phone with a visible injury to his right eye. He also observed that Palin's eyes were bloodshot and that his breath smelled like alcohol, and writes that Palin was uncooperative, belligerent, and evasive. Because of Palin's escalating hostility and the unknown whereabouts of the victim, Kapler placed Palin under arrest. Now, they later did find Palin's girlfriend. She was hiding under a bed. It seems like she was so frightened that she needed to hide under a bed. But she seems like she's okay at this point. This is according to the police report and the account of the girlfriend. Palin approached the girlfriend and struck her on the left side of the head near the eye with a closed fist. The girlfriend got on the ground in a fetal position because she didn't know what else he would do. Sergeant Rader observed that the girlfriend did have bruising and swelling around her left eye. She complained of pain to that area as well as her right knee. He observed a small red area near her knee. The involved firearm, an unloaded AR-15 rifle, was located on the kitchen counter. Now, we'll get to Sarah Palin's response to all of this, but I want to give you ladies an opportunity to jump in about these allegations.
AR-15, that's just all I have to say.
Second Amendment rights.
I was reading this affidavit. We have copies. And there were a few things that stuck out to me as not really leaning toward PTSD, but leaning more toward domestic abuse. There's a part in here in which he says, the officer says that Track called the police later and said, oh, that woman was drunk, which reads strongly of something called gaslighting, which is something that is very prevalent in domestic abuse cases. It's kind of a manipulative way of spinning or omitting information in which to favor the abuser. And that's just, I mean, I don't necessarily know that's the case on an anecdotal level, but that really reads strange.
Yeah, it's interesting that he called the police right after his girlfriend called the police and let them know, hey, my girlfriend's drunk. Now, whether or not she was actually drunk is unclear. I haven't read anything about that. The police haven't written anything about that so far as I can see. But they did get into some sort of fight while they were both out together, a verbal altercation, if you will. And then they were fighting all the way home. And then finally, once they get home, they continued arguing in the car. And that's when things started to really escalate. Margaret, what do you think about all this?
You know, the only other times in media that we've reported on AR-15s, San Bernardino, Sandy Hook, and now the Palin. So, you know, just having that all clumped together, AR-15 in this young man's hand, a few things strike me. So in the police report, he used the word pussy. Do you think I'm a pussy? That's the exact same word that his mother used on the campaign trail when she was referencing President Obama. That's a really just bizarre word for me. You know, they're both using it, that mentality. It's just really strange. You know, he lives at home, 26 years old, clearly has emotional issues, and the fact that his mother was able to turn this into a campaign stump speech, if you will, of sorts, highlighting his PTSD. He's an Iraq vet, which is pretty serious. You know, if that were the case, why in the hell does he have an AR-15?
That's
and
a great
why
point.
Is he around alcohol?
That's a great point. So obviously, Sarah Palin is in the news. She had been in the news because she endorsed Donald Trump. And after her endorsement and after her endorsement speech, there was that elephant in the room. People wanted to know what was going on with her own family and, you know, family issues. And she did address it in what I would call the most ridiculous way imaginable, but could you expect anything less from Sarah Palin? Let's take a look at what she had to say.
I can talk personally about this. I guess it's kind of the elephant in the room because my own family going through what we're going through today with my son, a combat vet, having served in a Stryker brigade, fighting for you all, America, in the war zone. But my son, like so many others, they come back a bit different. They come back hardened. They come back wondering if there is that respect. And that starts from the top. It's a shame that our military personnel even have to wonder if they have to question if they're respected anymore. So when my own son is going through what he goes through coming back, I can certainly relate with other families who kind of feel these ramifications of some PTSD, and it makes me realize more than ever, it is now or never, for the sake of America's finest, that we have that commander-in-chief who will respect them and honor them.
So she's implying that our current president doesn't respect the troops, and that continues to exacerbate the issue of PTSD. So that was her incredible way of blaming Obama for what her son did in this domestic altercation. Look, her son very well might have PTSD, but it's very interesting to me that conservatives, Republicans, who are constantly talking about supporting our troop, and that's what the patriotic thing to do is, never really focus on issues of mental health, especially regarding our troops. The only time they do is when it's convenient for them. And it enrages me. Here's the thing, Sarah Palin. If you are in favor of making sure that the mental well-being of our troops are intact, one thing that you could do is not support presidential candidates that want to beef up our foreign policy in the Middle East, right? Send more troops in the Middle East, fearmonger about ISIS, and ensure that we not only continue the current foreign policy that we have now, but expand on it. So do not cry to me about PTSD and how seriously you take it. You're only using this because it's convenient for you in this very moment.
It was very funny wording, which was support our troops, but that could be very ambiguous. And we've seen support our troops to mean a lot of times, let's go to parades and rallies and rah-rah, but let's forget about them when they're done or when they're hurt or when they have emotional issues.
Exactly.
And it's odd that she would use that particular wording.
Right. Look, he might have PTSD. I have no idea. Does that give him a pass if he decides he wants to beat up his girlfriend? No, it doesn't. But if he does have any type of mental health issue, he should be evaluated. There shouldn't be any weapons in the house that he's living in, especially if he's coping with these issues. And we should do something to stop the fact that we continuously send our troops to wars that we shouldn't be involved in. If you care about the mental well-being of these troops, if you really want to be an American patriot, a good thing to do is be a little more picky as to which countries you invade and how you invade them, right? But again, all of these points about mental health care are exploited by Republicans when it's convenient for them. There's a mass shooting in this country and the perpetrator is a white male. Oh, well, we need to focus on the mental health care. But then they don't do anything about mental health care. When it comes to PTSD for Sarah Palin, oh, well, this is a convenient time to bring up PTSD. But what are you doing to ensure that we don't send troops to wars that we shouldn't be involved in? Nothing. If anything, you're an advocate for those wars, okay? You fearmonger and try to convince Americans that we need to be in these Middle Eastern countries. We do not need to be there. So if you genuinely care about the mental health care of Americans and specifically of troops, then what you're doing is only exacerbating the problem that we're dealing with right now.
I also take issue with he came back like this, as if the Palin family is this moral compass upstanding group. But when we look at things like this crazy family brawl, and there are allegations, mind you, allegations, not necessarily police reports on this, of abusing drugs and being the ringleader of these vandals in Wasilla. And it's just like, who are you to tell people these morally upstanding, well, I mean, what that is up to your judgment. But then just not stick by it at all. We've seen them. They've been in the public eye for some time. I don't think it's fair for you to argue that the war made him this way and this is Obama's fault.
How exacerbated is this going to be when her instinct is to attack, number one, but number two, she used the word respect 3 or 4 times there, that he didn't feel respected. Well, let me think about this. He's loaded with a weapon that's probably loaded, hitting his girlfriend in the face. I mean, you would think that that word, conjuring that word, really rubbed me the wrong way when she just said that. Okay, so how is he commanding respect with a weapon, hitting a woman in the face? I mean, she really doesn't seem to be addressing his issues at all. She seems to be exacerbating.
She's making excuses for him, and she's blaming Obama, which I find very interesting when she's from the party that touts personal responsibility. You want to talk about personal responsibility? Take a good hard look at your own family and their own actions and own behavior, and why don't you do something to fix that before you get on a podium and judge the actions of other people, right? Because your family has all sorts of issues. You have a daughter who's now the mother of 2 children that she had from 2 different fathers out of wedlock. I'm not trying to shame her for that, but she made over $200,000 giving abstinence speeches, right? I mean, what is wrong with this country where we reward this kind of bad behavior?
Our wounded warriors, sometimes in body and in mind, coming back different than when they left for the war zone. I can talk personally about this. I guess it's kind of the elephant in the room, because my own family going through what we're going through today, with my son, a combat vet, having served in a Stryker brigade, fighting for you all, America, in the war zone. But my son, like so many others, they come back a bit different. They come back hardened. They come back wondering if there is that respect for what it is that their fellow soldiers and airmen and every other member of the military so sacrificially have given to this country. And that starts from the top. It's a shame that our military personnel even have to wonder if they have to question if they're respected anymore. It starts from the top. The question, though, that comes from our own president, where they have to look at him and wonder, do you know what we go through? Do you know what we're trying to do to secure America and to secure the freedoms that have been bequeathed us? So when my own son is going through what he goes through coming back, I can certainly relate with other families who kind of feel these ramifications of some PTSD and some of the woundedness that our soldiers do return with. And it makes me realize more than ever, it is now or never, for the sake of America's finest, that we have that commander-in-chief who will respect them and honor them. In fact, not 10 minutes ago, I was handed a military coin from one of your great residents here, a young man who is retiring from the military, and on the coin it says, "We're a brotherhood that only a few can understand." I know that you understand. So Oklahoma, we need you to you need to share the message with the rest of America. And when you go to vote in your primary March 1st, you can make it a Super Tuesday for the rest of America by leading the way with the vote for the next commander who will respect our troops, who will give them what they are deserving, and who will treat our vets better than illegal immigrants in America. Well, we're in this together, and we're in it because just last week we saw our sailors suffer and be humiliated at the hands of Iranian captors, where we were made to apologize. And why was that? It's because of a weak-kneed capitulator-in-chief who doesn't know how to negotiate. And he has decided that, well, from now on, America is going to lead from behind. What the enemy was doing was sending a message to the rest of the world. And that message they tried to send was that, they will capture and America will kowtow and America will apologize. And then in the deal, we will bend over and then say thank you. What a deal! Only one candidate has that proven record of success where he masters the art of the deal. He is beholden to no one but we the people. He's beholden only to doing the right thing. And he is perfectly positioned to make America great again. Are you ready for that, Oklahoma? Are you ready to see the change? Like I said yesterday in Iowa, no more pussyfooting around. It is time. You deserve the best. Now, our candidate, he is from the private sector. He's not a politician, and here is where you say hallelujah. In the private sector, where you actually have to balance budgets in order to prioritize, to keep the main thing, our candidate knows that the federal government's main thing is to keep us safe, to keep us secure economically and militarily, and he's the one who knows how to lead the charge. Are you ready for a commander who will allow us to make America great as he leads the charge for us?